So you can hear me, all of you can hear me properly. I am going to record the lecture, so we can start now. Today, we are going to start with a very interesting new chapter that is called whistleblowing. And in Arabic, it would be translated as al-balagh. So this is our chapter, and this is something very important for us to understand clearly, and how to deal with such situation, how to ensure that our companies have proper facilities and system that we learn in the classroom that we can apply there in the companies when we start as a manager in the company. It will be very important for us to have this system in place. So we will be learning today, first of all, what is, I have planned it in a way. Firstly, we will see a small case example of three women who were awarded the Times Person of the Year in 2002. Then we will see the definition of whistleblowing and what are the main components in whistleblowing. What should a company have to ensure that it has proper policy for whistleblowing? And then I will show you some quickly some examples. I have already shared with you on WhatsApp group some three examples of the policies of whistleblowing in Saudi. These are big companies like STC, Raji, Madin, Zain. There are all the good companies. They will have their written policy on whistleblowing. So let us start now. Okay. Please use the WhatsApp group also to write down anything if you wish to, because that's easier for me to check. All right. So let me just see if you have sent any text. You cannot hear me? Can you hear me? My voice is clear? So today our topic is whistleblowing or al-balagh. That is the new chapter. Very interesting chapter. Yes. No, not this one. Now, in this lecture, first of all, we will see a very small example that is there on page number 65 in the book. It is about three women who were awarded Times Person of the Year in 2002. So we will see what did they do, what was the main reason for getting the prize in 2002, what happened afterwards. So that's the first discussion we will do, and then we will memorize the definition of whistleblowing, also see what are the components of whistleblowing, and then we will learn, if we work in a company, if we have a company, what type of policy, whistleblowing policy we should have. And then you must have gone through quickly the examples from the Saudi companies. what type of policies they have. So, we will quickly go through their documents. So, this is the agenda for the class today. So, let us start now. You are seeing on the screen right now, there is a news item from Saudi Gazette last year. It was published on 27th February 2019. The government, Saudi government has decided to come up with a law to protect whistleblowers, and before Saudi, other countries in the Gulf, Middle East and North Africa, they already have this type of a law in place, like Tunisia, United Arab Emirates. These countries already have the law to protect whistleblowers, and the institution, the agency which is taking care of this law is Nazaha. So, this is the first item I wanted to share with you, that there is now a law to protect whistleblowers. So, there should be questions in your mind, what we are going to learn today. You should also understand that it is very important for you to learn about this, because now a company, yeah, of course, I am recording, Faisal. I am recording and I will upload on YouTube. So, inshallah. That is why I do not want to switch from the main screen to the blackboard screen, because so that the recording is proper. Okay. So, this is about the importance of whistleblower, and for this reason the Saudi government also has finalized that there should be a law to protect whistleblowers. Now, the next point to explain what whistleblower is, who a whistleblower is. So, instead of going through the definition first, let us look at a small example. This is a full case study in your book on page number 65. I am sure you have gone through it. I just got a picture from Time magazine of 2002, this edition, in which the picture of these three ladies was published. And who are these ladies? We can see right from the right. See their names. You should remember their names, because when we are doing any chapter, the cases will be very important for you to remember. So, there is first one from the right hand side, Sharon Watkins is there, she is from Enron. COLEEN Rowley is there from FBI, and Cynthia Cooper is there from WorldCom. All of the three are from USA. Now, what is their story? Very quickly, we are not going to go into much details. We just want to summarize the story. But if you want to read details, you can read in the book, and then if you search on Google, there will be big stories. If I am not wrong, there is a book also on this event, especially about the Enron. So, what happened was that the first case is of Sharon Watkins. She was in the top management of Enron. Enron is the name of a company that is very memorable. I do not know if you know their name, know the name of the company, but it is one of the most notorious companies in the world, because it was engaged in some sort of fraud. So, Sharon Watkins, she joined Enron in the top management of finance, and found that there are something wrong in the financial statements, in the balance sheet, Al-Mizaniya, Al-Umumiya. It was questionable. She was a finance expert, she was in the top management of the company. She found that there is something wrong in the balance sheet. Yani the actual is not reported, something else is reported, which is increasing the profit. I don't want to go into lot of details because you may get confused or we may deviate from the actual story. So, just for basic idea, she reported that she wrote a letter, a formal letter, to her boss, whose name is Ken Lay, who is the CEO of the company that time. She said there is a problem in the balance sheet and that what we are reporting is not true. What happened was her letter was not taken into consideration, and gradually she was feeling bad about the situation, and she could understand that it is being done deliberately, willingly by the top management of the company. So, as a finance person, she felt bad and she felt unethical, that this is not good, because ultimately she knew that the company is answerable to shareholders, to the investors, to the employees, and what they are doing is they are manipulating the profits, they are showing wrong profits. It is possible, you can show wrong profits if you just make up a balance sheet or a profit loss statement, you show income which is not there. What will happen? And now the question is, how can you do that? Is it, if any company, do you know that at the end of the year, here also in Saudi, every company which is operating in the country has to make an accounting statement, and if it is a registered company which is doing any business, it has to get it certified by a CA. Do you know this? I hope this is common. Do you studied this in Muhasabah Mutawassita and other financial accounting, that every year every company, small or big, which is registered in the country to run a business, at the end of the financial year they have to get their accounts audited. You understand audit, all of you, the term audit? Do you know what is it called, audit? Tell me. Have you heard this term, auditing, financial auditing? No? Have you finished accounting, your course on accounting? So, what is auditing? Who will answer? And if you can speak, it's better, otherwise you can write also, no problem. What do we mean by auditing? Yeah. So, what is it? Who does it for a company? Is the person who checks the accounts work? Very good. Who does it? Is it inside the company employee or from outside? Every year the company has to do it. Who does it for a company? From inside, or somebody from outside comes to check the accounts? What do you say? It is an internal audit or external audit? You are right, Muhammad Huraib is right. It's an external audit. And why is it externally done? Like, for example, we are taking exams. I am the teacher, you are students. There is a lot of possibilities that I will try to give you good scores, because I want to show that my students are all doing very well. But if an outside examiner comes, he will be really checking whether your knowledge, your understanding of the course, your understanding of the subject is really at par with other institutions or not. So, external examination, external review is important. In companies, since money is involved and taxes are involved, the governments have made it compulsory that a registered company has to get its accounts audited. So, auditing has to be done by external auditors and they are called CA, chartered accountants. Here in Saudi, you must have heard about a body. You know there is a body called SOCPA. SOCPA, do you know? There is a, I will show you, this is SOCPA. We will see the Arabic name for this. This is a very important resource for you. You can go and, okay, let's look at the Arabic. This is Al-Hayya, Al-Saudiya, Al-Muhasabin, Al-Qanu'in. They make the law for auditing here in the country. So, we can understand that in the case of Enron, there was, it was not just inside work, but the CA or the chartered accountants were also involved in this manipulation, which was going on for many years. So, Sharon Watkins said, there is something wrong, what to do now. So, she is the first example. Second, another company, WorldCom. WorldCom, as the name suggests, it is into telecom, and there was again top management executive called Cynthia Cooper. She again found that there are accounting irregularities at WorldCom that were used to hide $4 billion US by the owners, by the founders, Bernie Ebbers and Scott Sullivan. So, it is a big amount, $4 billion was taken away by these people. And you know that when you work in a company, even though you are listening me carefully, even though you are the owner of the company, we have to do it professionally. We do it through corporate governance principles. We take out any money in writing, that is accounting, isn't it? Any money that you take out from the company, you have to write it down. Why did you take it? What was the purpose? And any money that comes into the company, that has also to be written. That is accounting. That is why we learn 2 courses and we dedicate a lot of time in learning. As a business student, we learn about what accounting is and how to do accounting properly. So, these people, they took away the money without properly accounting. Now, this lady, Cynthia Cooper, she came to know about this, that her bosses, Bernie and Scott, they are doing this problem. Then the third example about COLEEN ROWEY, who was with FBI. FBI is the top investigation agency in United States, and she found that she sent a confidential 13-page memo letter to the director, and she had mentioned that and it was a case regarding 9/11, the incident that happened afterwards. After she pointed out this problem, there was a person named Zakaria Moussaoui, perhaps Tunisian, or I don't know, I don't exactly know, you can search. She said, there is a problem. She sent a memo to the director to investigate this person. So, we see, there are 3, but he ignored, the director of FBI ignored her plea, ignored her request, and the result was that there was 9/11, and it was found that this person was also involved, and so on, something. So, who are these people? What are these people called? These people named Sharon, Cynthia, COLEEN. They did the same things, similar things, and different companies, but they did similar things. What did they do? They found something wrong in the top management, or in their boss, or in their companies. Are you getting me? That is the basic thing we have to understand. These women, these managers, it does not matter whether they are male or female, all depends upon the ethical responsibility of the person. So, these three managers, top managers of the companies, different companies, and one was not a company but an institution, a police agency, they found something wrong in their institution. And as an ethical person, since they were ethical, they didn't want to ignore, they were more concerned about the company or the organization than small short term benefits. They wanted to save the organization, and they were also honest, all three, because they were honest, they were true to their companies, because they didn't pass or leak the information outside. They first informed their seniors, Litla Rusahum. I think this should be Hunna, right? Rusahunna, because they are ladies. So they, all three of them, informed the seniors about the problem first, but they didn't get any positive response from their seniors. So, what did they do? They then decided to go outside in public to leak or pass the information to the public by any means. That time in 2000, social media was not there, it was a proper media, the journalists, magazines, newspapers. So, they and the government institutions, now they passed on the information regarding this problem to the outsiders. Once they pass the information, what will happen? Now, tell me, did you understand the story clearly? What was the problem and what did these women do? Tell me, did you understand this story? I am waiting for your answer. Did you understand the story? What did these three women do actually? They informed first their seniors about the wrong being done in the company, and then finally, since their bosses, since the company head was not listening to them, they then informed in the public. They shared the information in the public, like First Lady, she informed the public that my company is doing wrong. Similarly, the second one, the third one, they informed the government institutions or the newspapers that my company is doing wrong. So, what happens then? What do you say? These people are called whistleblowers. These people are called whistleblowers. Now, what will happen to these people? Tell me. Are you listening to me? What do you guess? If you have a senior in your company and you see that this person is doing wrong, he is taking bribe, or suppose I am a teacher, I am doing wrong to any student, I am doing partiality, I am any teacher, he or she, will they be protected or they will be exploited? Because we are under the boss, we see that there is something wrong in the boss and we will report outside. What will happen? Will the boss leave us? Will the boss say, okay, very good, you did a very good job, you told something wrong about me, I am very happy? No. What will happen? These women, if you read the story properly, at that time there was no law, as Muhammad Hurab says, they will be protected. He is right. After these three incidents, and after the Time magazine noticed that these people did very good job, then they came up with laws, they came up with a lot of policies to protect such people who do good to the company, even though they had to risk their lives, they had to risk their jobs, because the boss, the owner or the CEO of the company is the top. He decides, he can just fire you, or he can, if he does not fire you, he will make lot of problem for the worker, so that, and he will force the worker to take back, withdraw the complaint. So, the question is, what happens to whistleblowing? Whistleblowing is an activity where the employee of an organization informs about wrongdoings to outside. So, this is the definition. So, after you have studied the story, go through these stories, very interesting story, all these three. I think one example is enough to understand this chapter. So, if you are interested, you can read more on these three ladies, at least Enron or WorldCom. These two are important for us because they are business cases. So, you will see, how it was not just very easy for these ladies to tackle the situation, because it took a very long time. Only in after 5-6 years, they were given the protection, their problems were considered, but for a long time they were persecuted. They were, they were trying to be manipulated, they were forced, but they did not succumb. They stick to their ground and they said, yes, we stick, these people have done wrong, they have we informed first, and so finally, this chapter or topic came into the consideration in business, which is called whistleblowing, that there may be times when the junior subordinate will have to, when he sees something going wrong, there should be some mechanism to report and protect him also. You may be aware, last week or 10 days ago, we received a message from our college dean. He has received a letter or circular from rector that there is a body here for students to complain regarding any person in the university regarding the problems he is facing, and also it has to be ensured that it is anonymous. His name is not highlighted to outside, because only the person who is in charge of the investigation or in charge of, so both ways, somebody can falsely accuse also, that is also wrong. So, if you give lot of power, so there should be a balance. So, this whistleblowing is a situation when an individual reports to some outside party, okay, ala shakhs alladhi yakdam taqarira ila baz kharij at-tarf ala sabil al-mithal wasait al-alam or hayya hukumiyya like an-nazaha ba'd al-khata ghair mashrua, or some wrongdoing of the company, and we will focus on company. Wrongdoing means what? Illegal or unethical practice. Illegal, doing very wrong, you are selling something which is banned by the government, that is illegal, and you are just doing it under the garb, under the guise of selling legal products, but the company is doing illegal activity, that is illegal. But unethical, like it is not illegal, but you are manipulating, somehow you are manipulating, and then he or she knows or suspects his or her employer of committing. So, this person, the junior or the employee of the company, is not sure, he is doubtful that this person is involved, because it is not possible for an employee to investigate. It will be the duty of some police or investigation agency to find the details. So, what he has to do? He has to bring the matter to the public. This is called whistleblowing. And Now, I hope the example is clear, the three examples. These ladies, they found that something wrong is going on in my company. Firstly, they were not sure who is doing, whether it is done by mistake or it was done by deliberately. So, first they reported the matter to the heads, but they realized that they are involved, the heads are involved in this problem. Now, there comes the act of whistleblowing. And what is it? It is, so I will repeat the definition again, you have to memorize this definition. An individual who reports to some outside party, for example, media or government agency, some wrongdoing that he or she knows or suspects that his or her employer is committing. That is the definition. There are many definitions in the book also, but we do not want to get into lot of theories. You can memorize as many as possible, but for the examination or for the quiz etc. purpose, just memorize this one. I wanted to make it easier for you, so that you learn the important things equally along with the memorization of definitions. Okay. So, I hope it is clear till now the whistleblowing, what is it, right? Now, let us go to the next point. So, whistleblowing is a phenomenon, whistleblowing is a process, an activity, amal fi shirikat, kul shirikat, yani not just one, but every possible institution, every company has this problem sometime or the other. There is a possibility that someone will do wrong. So, we have to have something in place. So, this is called whistleblowing. Now, what are the key elements in whistleblowing? Number one, the first component of the whistleblowing is the whistleblower. Who is he? So, is Cynthia Cooper a whistleblower? What do you say? Is she a whistleblower? We saw three names of whistleblowers. The first one is Sharon Watkins, Cynthia Cooper, and the last one the FBI lady. So, these three are whistleblowers. So, the person who informs outside the company about wrongdoing, about anything wrong. So, the second point, the second component of whistleblowing is the act, amal, al-amal or complaint, shikwa. So, if there is no option inside the company, what will the person do? He or she will have to inform outside. Why will he do this? Because he feels concerned about the company, because the company as an entity does not belong to one person, the owner only. There are customers, suppliers, employees, 7 stakeholders are there, and that is why we know that companies today do not just consider employers an employee or customers. It comprises of various stakeholders, and all their interests have to be satisfied. The third component about which the whistleblower is concerned, the party to whom, the third one, there are four. The act or complaint about which, I will correct this here itself, the act or complaint about which the whistleblower is concerned, like accounting problem or investigation problem, that is the act. Number 3, the party to whom the complaint or report is made, it is Nazaha or it is media, so social media or media, and the last one is the organization against which the complaint is made. So, FBI or WorldCom or Enron, these are the 4 elements of whistleblowing. Now comes a tricky question, pay all of you. I don't know if you, what is the problem today, you are not responding. So, I hope you are hearing me clearly and participating also. Now, the tricky question is, a person has to answer, there are two theories, two views of employee responsibility. You can see here two pictures are there. On the top, it shows that the employee is only related to employer. So, it shows that the employee has nothing to do with outside. Why? Because he is not answerable to anyone else. He gets money from the employer, he just works and that is it. No need to interfere in what is going on. Your job is to teach, your job is to make plant products, your job is to do accounting, do it. Whatever the employer says, do it. So, it is about loyalty, wala, or obedience, ta, or confidentiality. But in the current times, when we talk about various stakeholders, the responsibility goes beyond. As an employee, as a good employee, we are the employee of the company, but also we are a part of the system which has many stakeholders. So, our responsibility goes both sides, to our employer as well as the stakeholder. So, the first view suggests that our job only is to work for the company, whatever task we have got, duty we have to fulfill, and that is it. But the second view, which is the extended system, it says that the duty of the employee is not only to the employer, but also to the stakeholders, that is it. Okay. So, these are the two views within which we have to decide, within which the person has to think. Now, we know very well that we have already admitted, we have already accepted the fact that it is not about only employer and employee relationship, it is an extended relationship today. So, the employee has to consider, like that those three ladies, they felt bad, they were not treating themselves only as employee of a company, but they felt, I take money, I am loyal to the company, not just a person, and I want to save this company, I am concerned about this company. So, these are the two views about whistleblowing. The first is the old view and the second is the new, and since we are studying business ethics, we have to go by the new view, that is, there are stakeholders and we have to take care of our conscience. Al-Muwazzif wajib lais faqat li sahab al-amal walakin aidal li jamhur walaha aw dhamira. Jamhur and stakeholders, not just public, stakeholders, all the 7 stakeholders. As an employee also, I have to care about. So, what did we learn? First of all, definition of whistleblowing, is it clear to all of you? So, what happens? There is a mistake. Who, you tell me, I mean, instead of I revising to you, tell me, what do you say? What is, what did you understand about this chapter? What is whistleblowing? Tell me. Tell me. So, how will you, when does whistleblowing start? The action of whistleblowing start? Can you tell me? Faisal or Muhammad, Musanna, to report unethical actions, that is whistleblowing. What are the main components in this process? Number 1 is the, let us revise. Number 1 is the person who does the problem, does inform. Who is he? What is he called? His name is whistleblower. Number 2 is number 2 element of the process of whistleblowing. Tell me. No, not audit. Did you see the act? Very good, Mosanna. Yeah, the act. Number 3. Number 3 is the outside body, whether it is government institution like Nazaha or media, to which the information is given. Okay. And number 4 obviously is the organization against whom the complaint is done. So, it was Enron or WorldCom or FBI. So, these are 4 elements in the whistleblowing act. Now, the next thing that we discussed so far was what are the 2 views. Did you understand the 2 views, the old and the new view of employer-employee relationship? Did you understand this? Tell me, in which view, what was the old view? That our job, pardon? Yeah, the traditional view, what was it? What did it say? As an employee, what should we do in the older system, traditional system? In the traditional system, it was said that as an employee, your job is only to work for the company. You do not have to look beyond, go and tell about what is going on in the company. You should be loyal to the company. Okay? But in the new view, the loyalty is not just to the employer, to the company, but also to the stakeholders, to the public and your conscience. So, when that happens, we have to, sometimes there will be time where we have to report the matter to outside, because we are living in a conscious society. So, we have to report that my company is doing wrong, it is harmful for the society. We may lose, if like these ladies, they lost something, they had to lose their job, it was difficult for them to find a new job because these were powerful companies. But at the end, the result was that people recognized and they came up with new laws to protect the whistleblowing. So, what are the benefits, fawaid wa makhatir, of whistleblowing? I am sure all of you at least are with me on the basics that we have discussed. It is a very easy and interesting topic to understand. It may happen to anyone, and we have to ensure that in the company now, since this topic is already addressed, we have a system. That is why we are learning. So, what happens to whistleblower? First of all, naqd aksar sarama min al amal, more stringent criticism of work, like appraisal is there in every company. So, in the appraisals, what will the boss do? They will try to reduce your salary, they will say you are not working well, you are doing bad. This way they will try to make the employee feel bad, feel uncomfortable. Then they may transfer the person to less desirable work, where the person will feel bad, feel low. These are some dangers. If you speak against a person, they may do these problems to you. If you are a whistleblower, pressure to drop charges against the company. Sometimes the level of pressure is that much, the person can be threatened for physical or life, that he may be threatened by the company through external bodies, that if you do not take back the complaint or drop charges, we will kill you, we can murder you, we can hit you. So, those challenges are also there. It is possible if the company is very evil, very big, very evil and very powerful. powerful, they may do anything. So, these are dangers of whistleblowing. Number 4, heavier workloads, try to engage the person. It means, in nutshell what we understand, these may be the possible outcomes if we speak or complain against our boss or our company. It may be boss or anyone, we see something wrong in the company and we are feeling bad, we are sure that there is something wrong going on. Now, what we do, we speak, and we cannot resign also, because if we resign, then our job is done, we are over. We have to stay there and we have to see that the justice is done. So, if anything wrong is seen by an employee, he reports outside. This is called whistleblowing. It is possible that these dangers may come to him or her. Now, the question is how to deal with this, how should companies ensure, is it good or bad whistleblowing? As a general, tell me your view. Should an employee in a company, should there be a system that if somebody sees anything wrong, he should be able to complain? Tell me, what is your view? Should there be a system of complaining against wrong or not? All agree, right? All of you agree. Yeah, it's obvious. This is the very last week we discussed about the 7 principles. I mean, this is also, as a human being, we have a right to tell. Everybody has a right. Like, for example, yeah, you are right, Muhammad is right, Muhammad Hassan, that he may be disqualified, he may be, we saw those dangers, he may be given bad job, he may be given bad rating, appraisal, he may face problems. So, that is what we have to ensure, that the company, when we are starting a company, we make a system that the person is not punished for speaking against wrong. And here comes the role of the company, an ethical company, because we want to run an ethical company. It is possible that one person, 2 persons, many people inside the company may be bad, but we want to have a good company in which there is a system of whistleblowing. And in this system, any person who sees, okay, this person is doing bad, he comes late every day, he is my boss, he was supposed to come at 9, but he comes at 10 every day, and that is why customers are going, there is nobody to look after the customers. So, how should he speak? What is the system of speaking? He should be able, there should be a system that there is a book, there is a document, there is a lahia, policy, in which it is written that if you see anything wrong in the company, you have the right to report to this person. There is a box, complaint box, isn't it, Shikawa? There is a box in which you can drop the complaint, and there will be a person in charge who is responsible for looking after, for investigating in the complaints. Obviously, it comes down again to the human being, but again, but there is a system to take care of the problem now. So, these ladies, they wrote a letter directly to the CEO, but if there is no CEO, there is a system where they could simply write something to a body called the whistleblowing policy, whistleblowing body, complaint body. It will go to the complaint investigator, they will investigate the matter and then do what is written in the policy of the company. So, there even a CEO can be punished, an employee can be punished, that is a policy. So, how would you do? An effectively communicated statement of responsibility, a clearly defined procedure for reporting, ijra'at al-iblagh, it should be written that if you see something wrong, what should you do? Third, الموظفين المدربين تدريبا جيدا لتلقى التقارير والتحقيق. Well trained personnel. These people, so you run a company, ensure that there is a person who is in charge of whistleblowing policy or whistleblowing system, complaint system in the company. They are expert in handling, and there is a community of of the complaint or the whistleblowing policy system in the country. You are a part of that system. You will see that there are many systems today, many groups are there who deal with each other, who interact with each other to make the system strong of whistleblowing. Fourth, a commitment to take appropriate action. There should be commitment, al-iltizam باتخاذ الإجراءات المناسبة. The company should write and prove that they have taken, like last week I told you about Gap. There was a problem, the newspaper reported that they are involved in child labor. What did they do? They immediately showed the book to the public, to the media. We are not into child labor, and see, this is our policy regarding child labor, and immediately they terminated the contract of the dealer of the agencies who were involved in child labor. So this proves that Gap is an ethical company. They understand the concerns of the stakeholders. And finally, a guarantee against retaliation. Zamana zid al intaqa, yani you should ensure that the person, first of all, his identity is not leaked. So if there is a system in Enron where Cynthia Cooper or Sharon Atkins or Cynthia Cooper, they know that there is something wrong going on, they can write to the body, and the body should not reveal the name of the person to the company. It should be only between the whistleblowing body and the whistleblower, and the matter will be investigated so that there is no retaliation. The person does not face any problem. He can simply ensure that I reported the wrong and I am going on, I did my duty. That is a duty of every employee, to report anything wrong in the company. That is what we are learning in this chapter, that there should be we are making, like for example, HP case we did in the last class. Now, suppose an employee of the company already knew that this company HP, the operations department, they are manipulating the chip. If he knew it, he had to report this, because ultimately you saw there was a problem. So, if he had reported earlier, the matter would have been solved. So, these are 5 principles a company should follow so that the whistleblowing is done in a proper way. There is a proper solution to the problem, and it does not become a scandal or a scam or a controversy for the company, as in the case of Enron and WorldCom and other companies. Why? Because they did not have any policy for whistleblowing. That is why the problem became so big. If there was a policy, it should not have gone that way. And we have to learn that if we are running a company, company does not belong to human beings. Company belongs to company is a living being. In the law terms, company is an legal entity. It has its life of its own. You cannot own a company and do wrong. Yes, you are the owner, you will get profits. You are investor, you will get the share of profits. You are employee, you will get salary. So this is, we have already learned, but it does not mean that we can exploit. We are employees, so we can sell the, the next chapter, next week is again an interesting chapter about trade secrets information, like Albac. People are working there, and you know that Albac is very different from other companies, other such product manufacturers. What is it? They are doing something which is different from KFC or McDonald's. the employees know it. So, they cannot just go and sell, there should be some way in which it has to be protected. So, legal protection for whistleblowing varies from country to country. As you know, in 2000 for the first time, Time awarded these 3 ladies for their role in whistleblowing, because ultimately they saved many people, they saved the shareholders, they saved the government from tax abuse, etc. So, they did good job, but in the who was the culprit? The boss. So, for a long time they faced problems. So, there should be law. So, there was law in many countries. It has now been implemented in various parts of the world. So, that why whistleblowing is important? Because other companies, investors have confidence in the market. They can buy the shares of the companies. They know that this company is ethical, they will not do wrong. If there is anything wrong, there is written in the book that this is the process and we will take care of anything wrong. So, there is a legal protection for whistleblowing today, there are laws, and in some countries if there is no law from the top, from the government, then the company itself has a policy for whistleblowing. Number 2, there is a means more than at that time, when this book was written in 2017, this edition. So, even at that time there were many countries who had laws for whistleblower, and UAE in the Middle East, Tunisia, UAE were some of the earlier countries in the Middle East, in the Arab world, who enforced this law. And I think 2019, you just check it in Nazaha if this law of whistleblowing is mentioned or not, because I got this news from the newspaper that the law is finalized, but is it implemented or not, I could not verify. So, you can verify and see what is the law. So, if suppose a person, if a company does not have a whistleblowing policy, or a person whistleblows against any problem, how will he be protected? How will he or she be protected? What is the law? So, over 50 countries have adopted more limited protections as part of their. So, this is the level of legal protection given. And in the United States of America, which is one of the earliest to give the rights to whistleblower, to protect the whistleblower, the US Office of Special Counsel, they published these details on whistleblowing, what is it and how he or she believes what is whistleblowing. They have informed the public that if he or she believes that, first of all, there are 6 parameters on which the whistleblowing can be judged by the employee or the member of the company. If there is a violation of the law, if there is gross mismanagement, if there is a gross waste of funds in the company, abuse of authority. Again, in abuse of authority, you read in the book, there is a very good example of one person in Iraq in 2010. His company hired the relative of some minister of industry or so, and it was done to take a contract, to get some tender. So, this is conflict of interest, and this has to be, these are not good things. So, abuse of authority, a substantial and specific danger to public health or public safety. These are 6 parameters in USA. So, they have a very well defined law. If you see any of these problems, you can report the matter to your whistleblowing system, in the complaint system. If it is not being heard, there is outside body where you can complain, and the law will protect the whistleblower. So, this is about one country. Now, let us have a look in just cursory, we will quickly go through some of the local here in the Saudi, some examples. So, I will show you first about Al-Rajhi. Let us look at Al-Rajhi whistleblowing policy. Yeah, so it will be in Arabic also. You can go and I I'll show you just one. You can go and read about STC and Maden, and many are there. You can search in Google. See, what do they write? First of all, this is Al-Rajhi Takaful company, and in their website, on their company books, annual statement, etc., they will mention that we have a clear-cut policy on whistleblowing. All of you are clear what is whistleblowing? It's reporting or complaining about a wrong taking place in your company. You are an insider, you see something wrong, how will you report? So, there is a law, there is a policy in Al-Rajhi Takaful. They say that these are the types of proper, possible actions that may be counted as improper. And if an employee sees anything wrong like this, then you can report. And what are the channels of reporting? You can email, like here you see violations.alert@Al-Rajhi Takaful. This is a special email for taking care of whistleblowing. Your the employee's identity will be kept confidential. You have a telephone number, a specific telephone number where you can confidently disclose. There is no concern that somebody will hear, or it will be taken care of by a person who is in charge of whistleblowing. And also the person can visit or write to the head office in Riyadh, the compliance management department. You can write to them directly, write a letter, send in a sealed envelope. They will open it and see what is the problem, investigate. So, this is the bright side of whistleblowing. Now, tell me, do you see anything? We will spend 5 more minutes. Do you see anything problem from the employer or the company side also? Yeah, one side we discussed a lot about whistleblowing. It's a good thing. One can report, complain, but is there any problem with regard to taking revenge? Like, isn't it possible that I am not happy with my boss, so I always look after some mistake of my boss? Do you agree with me? Isn't it a possibility that that the employee can take revenge, or can also unnecessarily disturb the boss for some minor mistakes also? So, this is the other side of whistleblowing. So, that is why it has to be understood that the whistleblowing items should be clear. What are the items that qualify as wrong, really wrong, that you have to report, and what should be the steps? So, these items, as you saw in the slide on United States or in the Al-Rajhi Takaful. So, you see these wrongs, only then you can report. So, these are classified as wrong or improper behavior of the company, report it to the system, and then every good company today has a policy to ensure that the whistleblower is not penalized, not punished. So,